Jim. This is my garage. We're going to do some projects that you guys can do at home if you're so inclined. A little bit of skill and some tools and some support from me, maybe some other people, and you can do a lot of stuff. So today we're going to start on the 2000 Honda Valkyrie. We're going to do an LED light conversion. I love my bike. It's great, but it's 2000. It's time to do some upgrades on it. We want to do an LED conversion, make it look cool. So we ordered all these parts, and you can't get everything from one manufacturer. So basically, we had to get stuff from 3 manufacturers. I did a lot of research trying to piece all this together, and I didn't get a lot of good information. But a lot of the guys would say, I bought bulbs here and I bought bulbs there, and didn't really get me where I needed to be. So I put this together. We're going to show you how to do it. Not really difficult, a little bit of wiring here and there, and we'll see how it turns out when we're done. Before you buy or order a bunch of parts, we need to make sure of one very specific thing. You need to look at your turn signals and make sure you have the lens that has one tab on the bottom with one screw going up from the bottom. If you have the one like this that has 2 screws in the front of the lens, the Custom Dynamics boards will not work. The LED boards will not work in these if you have the 2 screws in the front. So just real quick, make sure you have the single tab, single screw. Screw comes in from the bottom to hold the lens in the housing. Here are the parts that we've ordered to do this project with. First we've got the Kuryakyn 2270 chrome extension bezels with clear spoke lens. Now when you order these, there's 2 part numbers. There's 2269 and 2270. The only difference is the 69 has a red lens and the 70 has the amber lens. When you order them, you can specify you want a clear smoke lens. So it doesn't really matter which part you get if you get the clear smoke lens. So we just got 2 of the 2270s. And those came from Amazon. Here we've got the Custom Dynamics Gen-180-KIT-HON. Custom Dynamics says this will not work on a Valkyrie. We're going to prove them wrong, and I'm going to send them a link to this video so that they know they're wrong. But basically what we ordered was, for the front turn signals, we got the LEDs with a white running light and an amber turn signal. And they will just pop right in and work. For the rear, we got the red brake light with the amber turn signal. And we have to wire the brake and the running light. Wiring harness is all right there, so it shouldn't be a big deal. We got the LED flasher relay, which will plug right in. And we got the diode kit to put in the dash indicator to stop the voltage flying around and causing all kinds of weird issues. Then we got from Radiantz, and these were ordered off of Amazon. They were cheaper off of Amazon with free shipping than buying them from Radiantz's website. And this is the 9012-11 LED retro kit for VTX Shadow and Valkyrie. And there's one, when we put this in, there's one little modification we have to make. Shouldn't be a big deal. And then we also got the Radiantz 6100-00 brake strobe unit. And then from Bright to Wheelz, we got the TZH-078-S clear smoke taillight lens. And this is a direct replacement. So those are the parts we're going to use, and we're going to get started on it, and we'll see how it turns out. Okay, we got her up in the air, got the gloves on. We're ready to get started on this, so we're going to start with this turn signal lens. So basically, we need a Phillips screwdriver with one screw on the bottom to take out. And then we can pull this lens off. That's going to go in the trash. Make sure you don't break your rubber seal. We're going to keep that. Then we're just going to take this bulb out. Then it can go in the clutch. Then we need to make a little modification on the fronts here. This little piece of metal right here, gone. We're just going to pull that out. The LED board won't go in with that in, so we're just going to take it out. Then we're going to take our LED board from Custom Dynamics. It's already wired. We've got the proper base. We're going to plug it up. The fun part of this is figuring out which way to put it in. Just like that. We're going to kind of twist the wires so that they'll kind of coil up and fall back in there. And then we're just going to get that in there like that. There's a piece of 3M double-sided tape here that we're going to peel off, and that'll help hold it in place. So we just got to peel the back off of it. This is sometimes easier said than done, especially when you're wearing gloves. Then make sure your wires aren't in the way. Locate it, press it in there. Like that. Then we need the Kuryakyn 2270 chrome extension bezel. And then it just goes back on like the stock lens. Put our screw back in the bottom. And then that's what she's going to look like. When we get done, we'll test them all out, make sure they work. We're going to do the other front one, and then we'll move on to the back. And then the silver piece inside comes out. And you don't need it either, so you can get rid of it. Make sure our rubber's in there right. Just like that. And then we're going to put the screw in that I dropped. Okay, we moved around to the back. We're going to disassemble the turn signals and the brake light, and we got to do a little bit of wiring back here, so we're going to get this disassembled, and then we'll start getting it put back together. Okay, so I'm going to remove the Taillight housing just so that I can get the wiring done a little easier. And this isn't real fun without taking the fender and everything apart, but we can manage it. You just got to have a small 1/4-inch drive and an 8mm. Get up inside of there and just work those bolts out. And then we'll get it apart, and we're going to get the strobe wired up and get the wires in for the brakes on the turn signals. Okay, so I've got the brake light ready to come out. There's a couple of bolts up in the fender. You can get to them. I use a little 1/4-inch drive, 8mm socket to break them loose, and then I've got a little stubby ratchety wrench. It's a little tedious, but you can do it. So I got those pulled out. And then we're going to pull our brake light housing off, and look in here. We got all kinds of room. We can fit our strobe up in here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to tie our brake lights and our turn signals and the running lights all together in here and get our strobe wired up. All right, I've taken the, there's an Allen head bolt inside of here that holds the turn signal housing on. So I've pulled that out so I can get through here to pull the wires through. Inside the piece, there's a little rubber grommet that the wires come out of. We're going to come in beside that. So basically I've taken a little piece of, this is 12-2 wire, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to push that up through this hole and tie my wires to it, and then pull the wires back through. So our red and our orange need to go back to the brakes housing, or brake light housing. So we're going to tape those onto here and then pull them through. Okay, so one thing I didn't point out on the front, when you're putting these in, you got 2 of them. And if you look, these double-sided tape is on one side. So if you get the wrong one in the wrong side, it'll go in, but the tape won't stick to this mounting point here where it's supposed to go. So make sure you get them on the right side. Alright, so I've got a piece of 12-2 wire through here. We've taped our red and our orange on, and what we're going to do is we're going to pull this through, hopefully, and it's a little bit tight. So when you tape your wires on, you want to make sure you stretch that electrical tape good and tight in there. And a little bit of lubricant probably doesn't help either, doesn't hurt either. So then we just pull our wires through like that. And we're going to leave enough in here so we can pull this out if we need to. And then we should have plenty to reach up into our brake housing. Okay, now we got our wires pulled through. We're going to go ahead and assemble this whole thing, and then we will get this put back onto the bike. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that the wires we ran through there are tucked down out of the way, so we can put this metal, this is your ground, this locks your bulb in place, and it also acts as your ground. And it just slides in there over the rubber piece here on the back. So we're going to slide that in, make sure your center part, the spring-loaded plunger's in there correctly. And we're going to put that in. Then there's 4 little screws that we need. 2 on each side that hold that metal piece in place. So we're going to go ahead and put those in. Okay, then we can plug our base in. And we're
going to peel the backing off of the double-sided tape here. Twist these wires up. We're just reconnecting the turn signal housing, and I got Garrett here helping me out a little bit. So you just plug the wires in. And then these we're going to run out through the hole here so we can run them up to the brake light housing. And these are our brake and our running light going to the turn signal, the left and right turn signal housings. We got that reinstalled. We're going to take some of this wire loom. We're going to put our wires to it. We're going to wire tie it up with the existing wire harness up inside the fender and pull the wires out up here. Now I'm going to go ahead and stick my wires through up here. Okay, I'm putting the strobe in the back side of the brake light housing. So inside of here, there's a retainer clip that's got a screw that I've taken out. And I've slid my strobe down in there, and then I'm going to put the screw back down on top of it to hold the strobe unit in place. And then I'll route the wires out so we can connect everything up. Okay, so I'm cutting these connectors off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to solder all the connections and use shrink tube on them. Okay, we just finished up the connections. As you can see, I hid the strobe module for the brake light in the back of the brake light housing. I went ahead and just soldered all my connections together. I did lengthen the wires a little bit just so it's easier to work on in case I decide to pull it out again. But then I used heat shrink on all my connections. So now I'm going to get it all tucked up inside there and get it put back on. Okay, we got the housing, the taillight housing mounted back on. So one thing we got to do, you can see this tab right here. We have to take that off so that our LED will have enough clearance to sit up in there correctly like it's supposed to. So that's what we're going to do next. And I'll probably, they say in the instructions that you can use a pair of pliers and bend it back and forth and it'll just break off. So we're going to try that just like that and see what we can do. Once you get that moving, you can it just will wiggle and come right off. So I think that's probably pretty good. So I'm gonna get the LED in there, and then we'll continue on and get the rest of it done. All right, I've got the LED bulb in place, and all you got to do is there's some gray 3M double-sided tape on the back, really good stuff. Once you get that tab off, you plug the socket in, and then make sure you read the instructions as to which way this goes, because it goes one way in a Shadow and a Valkyrie and a different way in a VTX. So make sure the orientation's correct, and then we're going to put the lens on, and we'll get her bolted down. Okay, there you have it. We got everything hooked up, installed on the back. Now we're going to get the flasher relay put in, and we're just about done. So we'll take a break here for a minute, and then we'll get back on it. Next, we're ready to put the diode kit in to stop the voltage from feeding back with the LED flashers. You have to put the diode kit in, or the voltage runs around the circuit and just makes the lights go crazy. So we're going to do that next. So we're going to start by taking the headlight bucket out, which you got a bolt on each side, which I've already taken out, but we're going to pretend we're taking them out. So a bolt on each side, then you just lift it up. Then we need to unhook our headlight connector, which is sometimes easier said than done. Okay, and while I got this out, I'm going to show you that I've already changed the headlight out for a Cyclops H4. And to do that, this rubber cover here, you have to cut a hole in it because of the fan on the back of the LED. So I've done that. Other than that, it plugs right in. It's got the proper connector. Just wire tied the unit up here out of the way. And I'll show you the box here. I think they've actually got a new one out that's even brighter than this one, and this one's ridiculous. So check that out at Cyclops. Next, we need to pull the wires out inside our bucket. And you've got these metal clips holding everything smushed up inside there, like that. And we're just going to be gentle, pull this down. And this center one is our turn signal indicator. And what we're going to do is we're going to take this black outer insulation off, and we're going to cut these wires and wire our diode kit up. Okay, so this is our isolator diode right here. And basically I've taken the two wires from the turn signal indicator and I've cut them. You attach one of those to the ground wire that comes, and I've put this eyelet on so that I can put it on the same ground that's already in here. And then you attach the white wire on the isolator to the other one, and then you just attach these two red ones going back to your wire harness, and it doesn't matter which ones you connect to which. So I'm just going to twist these on here and solder them up. Don't forget to put your heat shrink tube on before you solder them up. That's always fun. One of these will fall off and I'll lose it. So we're just going to take these, twist them up really good. And then we're going to apply some solder and, you know, get a decent soldering iron. And then give it a little tug and make sure it's good and solid. And then I'll attach the other wire up. And we'll do the same thing. And then we're ready to get our heat shrink tube up there. So you just work it around. And my favorite tool for doing heat shrink is one of these. You can get it into places. The flame will wrap around your heat shrink tube and shrink it right up. Just like that. Put this other one. And then I need to do these two. There you go. Now we just have to take the ground wire. So I'm going to reroute that down to the bottom of this mess. $10mm bolt right here. It's already got a ground attached to it. And if you want to make sure you're getting a really good ground there, use a one of the star washers so it'll dig in. And then we can tuck all our wires back up in here and bend our clips back in. I've got some extra wires up here for something. I don't know what they go to. There you go. And then you just reassemble your headlight. Okay. Last thing to do, we need to change the relay out for a digital relay for the turn signal LEDs. So we're going to start. We're going to remove our seat. Right there. Set it out of the way. Then we need to remove this side cover. Most of you probably already know this. Treat this like it's a very expensive piece of glass because it will break if you don't take them off right. To pull them off, you need to pull the back side out first. And it's a little tight. Once you have it loose, you got to release this clip up here and don't break that clip. That's where they always break them. And then they won't stay on. So if you kind of wiggle a little bit, it'll come out. I set that out of the way. Now our flasher relay is right in here behind the coolant tank. I'm going to pull this hose off to get a little room for my big hands. And I'm going to get a light. So here's our flasher relay. So what we need to do, this is hooked on a hook down there on this rubber piece. So you got to pull it off, takes a little effort. Then we got to wiggle this rubber out of here so we can get to the connector and release the connector, take the flasher out. Our new flasher relay has a mating plug and a little bit of wire on it. It's keyed so it'll only go on one way. Okay, it's connected. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a wire tie. secure this in here. Just so it doesn't bounce around. And then I'm going to cut off the extra wire tie. Put our coolant hose back on. Then we put our side cover rack on, our seat on, and we're done. We just need to test everything and we'll do a final shot and see what you guys think. Okay, everything's completed. We're all back together. It's time to turn the key and see what happens. And hopefully nothing smokes. So you can see we've got our running lights on the front, our Cyclops headlights shining like crazy. Alright, now let's look at the back. Okay, while we're back here we can check the brakes out. Remember we installed the strobe in there. And there you go. Let's see what the turn signals do. So there's our right side on the back. There's our left side on the back. And we'll go around and see what the front looks like. There's our front. I need to work on my turn signal switch, so we'll do that later. There you go. Now I'd like to point out that with these extension bezels, you get this ring of light around the front, around the side there. On the front ones you get the white, and back here you have the red. When you turn the turn signal on, it'll go red, orange, red, orange. I think that's pretty cool. So let's end it up. Since we have the Cobra 6x6 pipes, we can't do a Valkyrie video without starting it.